What's up everybody, Camero here, and welcome to part 69 of my How to Make a Pokemon Game tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to be looking at door animations. First, we're going to look at some of the existing door animations in Pokemon Essentials. Then afterwards, we're going to talk about the rules of spriting a new character sprite for a door. And then afterwards, we're going to download some new buildings from a Generation 5 tile set, because I like Gen 5's art style a lot. Then, because those buildings that we've imported won't have any door animations, we're going to create 2 new door animations from scratch. We're going to make one door animation for a standard door that swings, and then another animation for a sliding glass door, like for the Pokemon Center. With all that said, let's get into it. So, here I am in Sidolin City, which is a map that came with the base version of Pokemon Essentials, and as you can see, there are a ton of doors. I'm just going to click on this door here, and we're going to take a look at how it works. So, when player touches this door, the door event itself will trigger a set move route, where the door will play the door enter sound effect, then it will turn left, turn right, turn up, then our player will walk through it, then our player will become transparent, then the door itself will turn right, turn left, and turn down. So the door will open up, the player will walk into it, and then the door will close. Then afterwards, it'll change the screen color tone, our player won't become transparent anymore, and then we'll transfer to our new map. So, let's take a look at the actual graphic itself, and you'll notice it said it turned left and turned right and then turned up. The reason that it does that is because these doors are treated like any other character in our game. This top row is when it's facing down, this next row is when it's facing left, this next row after that is when it's facing right, and naturally, you guessed it, this final bottom row is when it is facing upwards. So if we go and look back at our doors once again, let me scroll to them. This top row is when the door is facing down, then left, then right, then up. So, if we wanted to look at another door, say the Pokemon Center door, let's go click on that now, and open up this graphic. You'll see that it actually starts sliding to the right. When it's facing left, it slides maybe 2/3, then only 1/3 is left when it's facing to the right. Or rather, this is when it's facing left, this is when it's facing right, and then this is when it's facing upwards. And then when it closes, it just does all of this in reverse. So when looking at these animations, it's almost like the door is closed, then it's slightly open, then it's more open, then it's completely open. So this is something that would actually be pretty easy for us to do in our own game, as long as we understand the rules of creating new sprites. So what I've done here to showcase these rules in action is I've actually gone and created an event here with a graphic that is 200 pixels tall. Now, what do you think is going to happen? I know what's going to happen, but I'm going to show it to you in-game. This is actually super cool, and it makes creating new door sprites very easy. The bottom of the event doesn't extend any further than the bottom of the tile that it was placed on. So this is the tile that it was placed on in the map, and then it only extends upwards. So for example, every single tile, or not for example, to clarify the rules, every single tile is 32 by 32, and anything that makes it taller than 32, for example, if we created a 64 pixel tall event, it would only extend upwards, which is very convenient for making door animations. As you've noticed probably, most of these doors are nestled on the bottom of the tile. So when we import those new buildings from Pokemon Black and White, we should make sure that the doors are placed on the bottom of a corresponding tile. That'll make it so much easier for us to animate these doors moving forward. So, let's actually get those graphics now. I almost said Gramfix. This is a resource from Relic Castle that I'm going to link in the description. It's compiled by Aki, but this set is by Ultimo Spriter. Sorry, I almost called him Ultima Spriter. Ultimo Spriter. This is from Generation 5, and I've actually downloaded this, and I've got it open in Photoshop. So this is the standard outside tile set. This is that outside tile set from Pokemon Black and White. And I would like to take a couple buildings from this and put them in our game, and then create door animations for those buildings. So let's scroll down a bit here till we find, there we go, a Pokemon Center. Very nice. When putting it in our game though, I would like to make sure that the bottom of the door is aligned with the bottom of a tile. So let's find around where the bottom is. This pixel right here, this row of pixels, should be aligned with the bottom of a tile. And by that, I mean, as we scroll through all of our other sprites in the standard outside tile set, This is one tile right here. This is 32 by 32. So we should make sure that our door is aligned with the bottom of one of these, like around here. So let's actually increase the size of this so we can add some more tiles in. We want to go to our canvas. We want to extend it downwards. And instead of 64, let's just make this like 960. There we go. That has added a bunch of space down here. Oh yeah, think of all the buildings we can add now. That's great. I'm going to save this. And just so that way I can keep track of everything, what I want to do now is I actually want to copy these. And I want to place them so that way we can place our new buildings on a grid. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these and start just moving a grid downwards. This shouldn't take too long. What I can do is actually merge these layers, and it'll get faster and faster the more I do this. Oh yeah, that is some good photoshopping right there. Cool. So I've added a hell of a bunch of tile squares here now. So what we can do is we can take this Pokemon Center, and we can just copy and then paste this dang thing into our tile set. Look at that. That's pretty neato, right? So what we can do is eventually get this working in our game. But what I would like to do is make it so that way this door is lined up properly with the bottom of a tile. So here we can actually see there's a bottom of one of the tiles. Boom. Plop that right there like so, and it looks centered. I think that looks pretty dang good in terms of its placement. Heck yeah. Now let's do that for one more building. Let's see. Are there any cool homes that I can take from? That's a decent home, but is there anything green? Green's like my favorite color, you know me. You know me. Oh, here we go. Here's some good looking stuff. I like the look of this little house right here. Yeah, let's take this house and put that in our game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm copying all of the sprites of the house. Copy it. Go into our outside tile set once more and paste this. And let's make sure that we move it down so that way it doesn't overlap with any of the sprites from the Pokemon Center. And then I would like to do what I did before and align this door with the bottom of a tile. Let's see. Can I get it to work perfectly like so? That looks pretty good. See, the door itself isn't properly aligned all the way with the bottom of the tile, so what we could do is actually move it right down here. So that way our tile will be more aligned with the door. Let me apply the transformation here. Take a look at that. Is that 32? Oh, wow, it's 32 wide. Perfect. I don't think it's 32 by 32 though. It's 32 by 36. So it will need to be a little bit taller than your standard door animation. Take a look at these boys. These guys are 32 by 32 through and through. So we're gonna have to make a new one that's a custom size, but hey, that's what this tutorial is all about. And since I've already showcased it in game, you can have something that's taller by 32 by 32 and it'll work out just fine. So let's get back into Photoshop here. And let's say that our house placement is looking good. What we can do now is let's see, we can turn off these little red squares here like so, and then we can actually save this and then save it once again as outside.png. Okie dokie. Now that has been saved. Let's go back to that Route 7 that we've been messing around on so much. And check that out. I've actually still got some remnants over here from some tiles I was making. Okay, let's go and let's place both of these new homes of ours from our tile set on Route 7. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of this dang old tile set. There they are. There's our new Pokemon Center that's just massive. Place him. I'll place it like over here. There we go. That's a big old building. And let's take this greenhouse as well. Let's see. It's really not the best aligned here based on these shadows. I think we can live without all the bottom of those shadows, but ideally what I would have done is move this up a little bit, but then it wouldn't be so aligned with the door, so it's like, it's up to personal preference. Anyway, there we go. We've got our two new buildings here. Now we need to make some door animations for these suckers, don't we? But right away, first things first, let's notice that these are aligned with the bottoms of those tiles. That is great. That's going to make it easier to make new animations for these guys. All right. So let's make those new animations, shall we? Let's go into Photoshop here and let's start looking at these door graphics once more. I'm going to turn on these red squares once again to make it easier for us to actually pull from these. And I'm going to rename these layers also just so I don't get confused. Poke Center, and house. Okay, so to make a door animation, let's do the house one first. To make a door animation, what we want to do is we want to copy all of the frames of our door, or rather all of the pixels of our door, and make sure that it starts at the bottom of a tile, which we've got going here actually. That's pretty convenient. So click and drag it. There we go. 32 by 36. We can copy this now, and we need to make a new file. So what this needs to be is 32 by 4, which is actually 128, and then 36 by 4, which is, what do we got here, 144? Bada boom. And then let's paste in our door. So the reason we did it by 4 and by 4 is because, like the other doors, we want to have it be a grid of 16 here, where there are 4 doors, and this is one door, this is another door, 4 doors with 4 frames of animation each. So 4 times 4, 16. There we go. Now let's move this guy all the way up to the top left here, and then let's click and drag to copy and paste a couple layers. In Photoshop, what I do is I use Alt and then click and drag to make a new layer. All right, there we go. Now we have 4 of our same door. And ideally what we would do now is make it so that way this one is closed, then partially open, then even more open, and then all the way open. So let's take a look at some of our existing doors, by the way. And I'm just actually going to take and copy this color here for the door that is all the way open. And I'm going to just make a new layer underneath everything that is that color. So that way, as we mess around with our doors, behind it will be the color of an open door. Okay. Hopefully all of that makes sense, and this isn't too confusing so far. But essentially what we're going to do is we are going to make it so that way this one up top is our closed door. The one underneath it, which will be this, is going to be partially open. The one underneath that is going to be even more open. And then the one at the very bottom is going to be open all the way. Which actually, I think this could just be removed. So that way we only have to make 3 frames. So that way this is just it when it's completely open. Alrighty. So let's start making those frames. For this one, what I like to do is I actually like to go into an edit, transform, and then skew the image. What I like to do is skew the door. If we look at the other existing examples, the door kind of opens up and it gets diagonal and then even more diagonal until it's not there anymore. So we can actually recreate that pretty easily in Photoshop here. What I like to do is I like to skew it, or rather, was it distort actually? Yes, it was distort. There we go. I'm talking out of my butt. I want to distort these. Let's distort this maybe, I don't know, 21 degrees there. And let's distort this as well, 21 degrees. So that way it looks decent. Okay. And then what we can actually do is click and drag and move this in a little bit. Maybe 6 or so frames. Bada boom. And then we don't need to delete the top. But if we wanted to, we could delete the top of this door, so that way now our frame looks like that. Cool. And we can do the same thing for our next frame. Let's go in and transform, and we want to distort this once again. And instead of 21 degrees, we can go way more. We can go up to, let's go up to like friggin' 44 degrees. So it's like super distorted now. Okay, let's go up to like 44. There we go. Apply that change. And then let's drag this in so that way it's like even more open. And we could actually move this down a little bit because like that door was looking a little bit crazy. Okay. So now this is what our door looks like when it's even more open. And then what we need to do is actually make sure that we're not overlapping incorrectly with that other tile. So what did we have here? 144. So we want to move down that many. Okay. Pardon me here. We need to go down. There we go. So this tile of our door here is extending into the other frame, so let's just delete those bits that are extending through the top. Plunk. There we go. And then we can move our background into place once again. And what we have here is a perfectly acceptable door animation. You might think that it doesn't look too great, but let's see it in the game, because this is actually now matching the format of the other door animations, where the top frame is closed, then it's a little bit more open, then it's a lot more open, and then it disappears. So, it's closed, it's a little bit more open, it's a lot more open, and then it disappears. Okay. So this might not, like this might be a little sloppy, but whatever. Let's call this Doors 10. And then we need to save it once again as a PNG. Oh wait, I'm saving it in the tile sets, aren't I? That is the incorrect folder to save this. All the doors are characters, so we need to save this as doors10.psd within our characters folder. And then let's make sure that we're saving doors10 PNG into characters. Okay, now what we can do is we can actually go into our game, and I'm just going to copy a door event here. And I'm going to go to our root, and I'm going to paste an event here, and we're going to change the sprite of this to be doors10. And we're going to use that frame right there. Perfect. Now, what we should do is also make sure that we set the second event page to also use that same doors graphic. Otherwise, it'll look like a different door when you're leaving the building, which will be kind of funny. All right, so this takes us to Sadolan City Condo. Let's go to Sadolan City Condo real quick and make sure that this right now takes us back to the route that we're on. Okay. Sadolan City Condo will now take us here to this door. Now, I think we should be good to run this in game. Let's get in there and take a look at what this door animation looks like. And check this out. I can actually take a shortcut there. Sadolan City Condo, thank you very much. Now I'm gonna go to Route 7. Oh, look at that. I'm stuck inside of my door. I figured out the reason that issue was occurring. I was being dumb and I accidentally was going to an impassable tile here. What I had done is I had done a test on this before, and I forgot to reset the properties of these buildings, so unfortunately I was going and transferring to a tile that was impassable. So what I needed to do to fix that was go into my database here, go to the outside tile set, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'm just going to make all of the tiles passable right now. Ideally what we would do is eventually make all of these impassable, like so. But right now, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to focus on those door animations. I've already done a tutorial on tile sets, so we don't need to talk about how we can set them as passable or impassable. Essentially, I was just being dumb, but that happens all the time, you know what I'm saying? So, now, let's actually do this transfer once more and have it work with our animated door. Ah yes, look at that. We've got ourselves a nice little door animation. Although, did you see that? My character's head briefly appears above the door frame there. That's something that we can fix pretty easily. Check this out though. We can collide with the face of the door, and we can walk into our animating door, and for the most part it looks really good. But I think the easiest way to fix this would be to adjust the door animation itself or add a new tile. And adding new tile based on this is actually super friggin' easy. What we can do is we can go to our tile set here, and we can take a look at this bit that's above the door. So what we want to do is we want to go to 32 by 32 here. Let me set the width properly. There we go. Now let's take a look at this bit up above. So this brown bit right here is what's appearing above our animation. So what we can do is we can actually take this 32 by 32 tile here for the bit above the door frame. And then what we can do is we can copy this bit and make a new tile out of it. So with this new tile, oh wait, I just wanted to copy it. I didn't want to just misplace it. There we go. That's much better. All right, what we can do is we can make this its own tile here, and we can delete this bit for the door. Bada boop. There we go. Then what we can do is we can also delete this bit of the red squares underneath it. Once I find the proper bit to delete, there we go. So that way the bit underneath this will be transparent. All right, now what we can do is save this and save it as an updated version of our tile set. Okie dokie. Now, let's go back into our game's tiles here and make sure that we disable all the red squares again when we do this. Gosh dang, I'm sorry. I'm being very sloppy today. This is, am I off my game? I feel like I'm off my game. Anyway, let's save. Once again, update our outside tile set, and this time not forget to turn off all the red squares. There we go. Now, let's just go and add that new tile that we created up above right here. Then go to our tile properties here and set the priority of this to be higher. So now only this bit of the door will appear above the player. And now we don't have to worry about the priority of this bit above. So only the bit that's not part of the door on the frame above the door, or rather on the tile above the door, will appear above the player. So let's showcase this working in game. And I really hope that everything looks great here now, because this is a very sloppy tutorial. I guess it makes sense for the 69th one to be very sloppy, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, we're getting through the door, and now it looks fantastic. Look at that. That just looks great. So the solution here was we made a new door animation, but then we also made a new tile for the tile above the door and excluded all pieces of the door from that tile and made that bit a higher priority than the player. In fact, we made it the maximum possible priority. But now we can walk in and out of this door with impunity, and it just looks great. So this was a door that wasn't animated until now, and now look at it. Now it's beautiful. But what about our Pokemon Center? We gotta show our Pokemon Center some love. Look at this. God dang, that's... we need to fix that. Alright, so the first things first, let's go in and modify this tile set once again, so that way the priority doesn't look so terrible. We can change the passage for this, and then let's make a new door animation for our sliding glass door. And we're gonna make it look really friggin' fancy, and it's gonna be great. But first, let's get into our tile set, and let's fix this horrible mishmash that we've got going on here. I'm gonna make all these tiles passable, except for, say, some of these. And you know what? I'm gonna make this impassable as well. There we go. You know what? I'm gonna just do what I can to make this decent, halfway decent. And then for our priorities, these should not be 5 priority. Neither should these, actually. Okay. Let's reduce the priority on those. Reduce the priority on all of these. Reduce the priority on these. And I guess these can actually stay high priority if the player is meant to walk all the way back here. Okay. Now, I believe that this is going to look pretty decent. I'm going to work on these passabilities a little bit more, and there we go. I think what we've got here is a decent looking Pokemon Center in terms of the passability and the priorities. Now, what we need to do is we need to make a new door animation for this sliding glass door. So, let's go into our tile set in Photoshop here, and let's take a look. Let me turn on these red squares once again, and then don't let me forget to turn these off. Please remind me. All right. Here is the bottom of our door. So in the last one, we were working with 32 width, but we don't have to be constrained necessarily to 32 width, because when the width of our tile exceeds 32, it actually extends outward left and right. It doesn't go only right and it doesn't go only left. It actually extends from the center of the tile. So for example, if we made this, say, 40 wide or 36 wide, so let's do some measurements here now. Let's go 36 to encompass all of this light blue section. Let's go 36 by maybe 46 here, or let's go 48. 36 by 48. This will look just fine. We'll be exceeding vertically, so it'll extend up from the bottom of the tile, which we want, and then we'll be exceeding horizontally, which means it'll extend from the center of this tile, which is additionally what we want. So let's do some quick maths here. Okay, yeah, since this is going to be a 36 by 48 tile, this needs to be 144 by 192. So let's copy this, and let's make a new image here that is 144 by 192. And what we can do is we can just paste this in right here. And once again, we're going to need to move this up to the top left. Okay. Now, let's do what we did before, where we have the tile for facing down, or rather the frame for facing down, then left, then right, and then once the door is completely open. Bada boom! Now what we can do is we can also get rid of this background here. Now, I think what it should do is, from the left and to the right, it should actually slide. So what we want to do is make it start sliding. Let's take this bit of the door here, and let's kind of click and drag to the center here. Alright, and this will give us a general idea of what we want to do. I would like to make the door... Oh, I have to select the other layer, actually. I would like to make the door maybe move 6, maybe 5. Yeah, let's go 6. Let's go 6 pixels that direction. And let's take it, once again, 6 pixels in this direction. And then what we can do is we can actually use the color here for our other open door. Copy that color. And then what we can do is we can fill this gap with that color. So in behind here is open. And then we can also just fill in these little bits here, like so. And I think what we should do is actually fill in this bit here. I think that'll look decent. And you know what? Let's just fill in this bit here, so that way only the light gray remains. Okay, so this is what our door is going to look like when it's slightly open. And we can actually delete these little bits, these 6 bits that went over the edge here. Bada boom. So that is the first frame of our sliding glass door opening. Now, let's move to our next frame of the sliding glass door opening. Let's take that bit that we did before, and instead of moving over 6, let's make it move over 12. Yeah, there we go. And then let's apply that move change. Okay. Copy these bits over here. And let's move these over 12 pixels. Bada boom. Then we copy our open color once again. And now we can draw over a lot more stuff. Basically overwriting all the way down to the light gray here at the bottom of the frame. Okay, there we go. This is looking pretty decent, wouldn't you say? I think this is looking pretty good. Now, let's go and delete this bit. Yes, there we go. So it's there, and then it's there, and then it's opening even more. And now for this next one, what we can do is we can just friggin' color over everything with our new open color. Oh wait, I need to select the right frame. There we go. Well, that doesn't necessarily look good when I do it like that. I think it's because I have like anti-alias settings and stuff on. I'm just gonna hand paint over it with this, but we want it to essentially just be everything is open now. The door has slid all the way, and we are gonna walk in to the Pokemon Center now. And let's make it so that way it goes down to this light gray bit right here, like so. Okie dokie. Artichoke. Oh gosh. Massive friggin' paintbrush here. I just want to do this as fast as possible, but at the same time, I should slow down and make sure that I get it nice and good. There we go. So that'll be the final frame for when our sliding glass door is open. Now let's call this Doors 11, and let's not save it within the tile sets folder. Let's save it within characters. Doors 11. And one thing that we should do real quick also, we should be wary of this little shadowy bit at the bottom. I'll leave it in right now just to show you why we should be wary of it. But this is something that we're eventually going to need to fix. So keep an eye out for these little shadowy bits here. But let's go into our game now. And let's make it so that way when we walk into this, it warps us to the Sidolin Pokemon Center. Let's go here to our Sidolin Pokemon Center. And let's copy this door. Let's go back to our Route 7 and paste this bit of the door. Alrighty, so we can use Doors 11 for this now, and we will use this side right here like so. This will warp us into the Pokemon Center, and then we need to make sure that we change this one also to Doors 11, otherwise it'll look like we're walking out through a different type of door. You know what, I think that'll actually be funny. I'll showcase what it looks like when you don't set it properly, just so that way it's something that we're always keeping track of. I mean, I know that you know to do this, but I just want to show you what it looks like. I think it's funny. Now, let's go back to our Sidolin Pokemon Center real quick to make sure that this is warping us to the proper tile on Route 7. Let's go here. Alright. Now, let's run it in-game. Let's see our new animation. Now check this out. It looked like maybe it wouldn't look too good because... oh, look at that. That looks pretty good except for those shadowy bits at the bottom right there in the bottom corners of our tile. But yeah, in the event preview in Pokemon Essentials in our editor, it looked like it wasn't going to look too good. But remember, it extends upwards. And now we can go through our door and it's animated and it looks great. Oh my goodness, look at that. And there we go. That's why you set it to be the same animation. There we go. But look at that. We've got little shadowy bits on the bottom here because this building has a shadow and then the tile has a shadow. So they kind of compound and we get like a little double shadow here. So let's go and fix that really quick. We got a couple things to fix real quick, actually. Let's go and also make it so that way when we walk through the door, it shows the proper Doors 11 here. I don't know, I thought that was funny though. So let's go into Photoshop now, and let's just merge all these layers so that way we can do the deleting as fast as possible. And we just want to get rid of these little shadowy bits. The building itself already has a shadow, so these door frames do not need to have shadow. But yeah, in general, I think that this sliding door animation is looking pretty decent. The door animations themselves aren't perfect. They are made by me, a bit sloppily, I'll admit. I mean, I'm not the #1 door animator in the world, not by a long shot. But this is something that you can do to start getting door animations working for your game. I know there are plenty of people who want to draw their own buildings, And, you know, naturally buildings have doors. So if you want to create your own building sprites, you'd need to create door animations for them as well. So this would be how you do it. Additionally, if you want to import sprites from, say, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, or you want to import sprites from Pokemon Black and White, and you want to get these cool looking buildings, well, how would you go about creating door animations? Well, everything that I've done in this tutorial is how you would go about creating door animations. One thing that's a blessing too is depending on how you lay these out in your tile set, a lot of these doors can share the same animation. This is the same type of door as this one that I've animated already. So as long as you get everything laid out properly when you put all these buildings within your tile set, you could just, you know, copy and paste door animations. They do that a lot in Pokemon Essentials, actually. Like if we go to Sidolin City or Larusian Town, you'll notice that, let's see, maybe this isn't the best example, but anyway, some of these are using the same type of doors. Like this one door applies to so many different buildings. So let's go to Route 7 once again now. And let's test our sliding glass door animation one more time, shall we? I think that this is going to start looking pretty good, though. Let's see what we've got here. Look at that. Already that looks pretty decent. Let's walk into it. Oh, yeah. It opens up. Oh, that's looking pretty good. I don't know about you, but I don't know. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Cool. So that's a cool door animation for our Pokemon Center. And let's showcase our door animation once more over here. So it's not perfect, but it's something. It's a moving door that is better than a stationary door. That much is true. Anyway, I'm going to close this down now, and I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to say thank you once again so much for watching. I do appreciate you. Hopefully you learned something from this episode, even though this one was maybe a little bit less organized, maybe a little sloppier, maybe a little more off the cuff. But hey, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to follow those social links in the description, and be sure to check out all of my other stuff, and be sure to have a good one. I'm wishing you the best of luck in your Pokemon game making endeavors, and until next time, I hope that you all have a good one.